Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're out here taking a look at that Poulan 2150 project saw. Got this cool stand recently. I'll have that linked in the description if anybody wants one of these stands for their saws. Pretty cool tool to have. But yes, anyway, we're going to be working on this. Plan on doing some porting on this here today in this video, getting it back together and making our first cuts all in the same video. Now this is not a tutorial, all right? As far as porting goes, I'm going to say I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Still really new. This will be the second saw I've ever ported, so I'm not really sure what the outcome is going to be. Been spending quite a bit of time though watching Tin Man saws, watching Iron Horse, watching Joe, whose channel I can't think of the name of his channel, but these guys have some really great channels that go over porting and things, and so trying to gather my information and figure this out. I want to make some saws that are fun and you can have a blast cutting firewood with, or blowing them up. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But I want to be able to have some fun, fast cutting saws. Obviously, the saws that I'm starting with are small, so I'm not like creating these monsters. I don't expect to be winning any competitions. I'm not doing anything like that. I am doing this at the moment purely for my own little bit of education and fun to do it. Bring this thing over to my buddies. We'll cut some firewood at some point, and hopefully we'll have a blast running these little saws for now. And who knows, maybe it'll turn into something bigger. Now, I've mentioned it in other videos. We've got some steels that I want to do this to. I'm really a steel guy at heart, so that's what we'll be working on, in the future. But I want to get through this project and maybe one more before I get into the steels, because I really don't want to mess those up too awful bad. So I've got this thing set up. Bring you guys over here. I've got not a flywheel. What am I talking about? I've got a degree wheel set up. Figured out top dead center, and now it's just trying to figure out and calculate the rest of the numbers. Tin Man Saws explains all this stuff really, really well. I'm just kind of stupid and can't figure out the math of it. And so what's going to happen is I'm just going to hack away at this thing and put it back on here and remeasure it and see what the heck we come up with. But I do have a general idea of like what degree I'm at when things open and close, like the exhaust opens at 75 degrees. The intake opens at 67 degrees. Was able to measure squish on the piston that's in here, the piston and cylinder, because it's different from the OEM. So this was the OEM numbers, and now this is the new numbers. Piston height, piston width, and then where is it? Head squish in here somewhere. Oh, the new one is 3.85 degrees as far as squish goes, which I'm not going to be decking this or anything like that. I don't have a lathe, so we're not going to be doing anything there. The plan is to raise the exhaust, and I don't know how much lowering I'm actually going to do of the intake. We may do a little bit of a roughing up the intake and take just a tad bit of material away on the bottom. Now, as far as the transfers go on the inside, I might try to smooth those out just a tad. And the impulse line on this aftermarket cylinder is smaller than the OEM, so we might size that up. And there's also a groove on the inside for that impulse. This one is much more shallow compared to the OEM cylinder that I took off. This is just an aftermarket Amazon cylinder. So I'll have the clamp from Amazon, I'll have this cylinder piston kit from Amazon, I'll have that degree wheel from Amazon. Anybody wants to do this, we'll have the Dremels, and I'll have all the tools I'm using to do this. So if you want to go ahead and mess up your own saw based on this video, you can do so at your own risk. That's my disclaimer, okay? So this is where I'm at with it. Next, I'm just going to go ahead, grab the Dremel and some tools, and I'm going to start removing some material. So the plan, like I said, we're going to, what are we going to do here? We are going to raise the exhaust. So we're going to take some material off the top a little bit, and we're going to widen the exhaust some. Man, that light is bright. So we're going to take some of that material away. There's also just like some really bad casting in this exhaust. So this thing's going to get cleaned up and polished, hopefully to a mirror finish by the time I'm done. Now, the casting in here isn't bad. isn't that good, which I don't really care about the intake. You want it to be pretty rough. But there's burrs and everything else that are like on the edge and the lip there. We got a video though where we already put this cylinder and piston on here. We ran this saw stock. So hopefully we'll have some footage of, you know, we'll be able to do some side-by-side cutting once I'm done with this work compared to how it cut stock. And if I remember, I'll put that video here if you want to go back and see how this ran prior to this, I guess. But hopefully I'll have a side-by-side at the end. So that's a mouthful. Basically, I'm going to save you guys the pain, and I'm going to kick this thing in high speed once I get set up here, and we're just going to start making some metal shavings, and yeah, we'll see how this thing performs by the end of the video. So stick around, give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe. We got plenty of other videos on here that are not porting. In case this ain't your thing, check those out, and let's get to it. Well, did some grinding and try to see when this thing opens now. Got it set on top dead center. Best that I can, at least. It's like first signs of light. So we raise the exhaust. Exhaust opens. It originally opened at 75 degrees. Now it opens at about 82 and a half, roughly. About 83, we'll call it. Which should have been like right around here somewhere. Just want to see like when it cracked open. Didn't really change it a whole lot. Maybe we'll take a little more off that intake. Yeah, took off about half a degree or so on my intake. Barely touched lowering that intake. So right now, after grind, it's like 67 and a half. I think I might do a little more work. I did widen it, which I don't know how to show you guys. I widened the intake a little bit, but we widened that just like I widened the exhaust some as well. I might do some more work on the exhaust side. I might widen that a little bit more and then flip it over and start working on kind of like swooping the transfers a little bit more than what they are. So stick around. Well, here's the work we did. Here's the intake. I hit right here a little bit going to the transfer. Not much, I just did a little there. And here's our exhaust. I'm going to put this together in high speed, and we'll be running and hopefully running and making some cuts. We'll see. We'll see if the work I did was any good, so stick around. Alright guys, so I got all the porting done, got everything polished up. We got it sealed and everything's back together as far as the motor mounted in the case, which I think we just looked at it a minute ago. I went through and reran my numbers to see where we're at as far as like when the exhaust opens. So stock on this cylinder, it was opening at 75 degrees. Now we're opening at 92 degrees for the final, once polished and everything. I didn't do anything else from the intake. We only changed half a degree on the intake. We widened both of them a little bit, and the intake I widened a little. The exhaust we widened a lot. We did a little bit on the transfers. I really have no idea how this is going to run. It might not even run well at all. But we're at a point where we're going to get rid of this degree wheel, get all these parts on, get this back together, and fire it up. So I'll click it in high speed, get that work done, and get you to the part y'all probably been waiting for, seeing if this thing's going to cut a log or not. So give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you guys haven't already, and stick around. Alright guys, so this will be the first start after porting and reassembling the saw. Had this exhaust on the other Poulan, just figured I'd throw it on here, a little custom pipe. Already primed it, got it choked, so really have no idea how this is going to run or if it's going to start. Alright, we gotta hit that chain with a file. Get that set up, but first couple cuts. Let's hit that chain and see how it cuts now. There guys, we stuck a new chain on that ported Poulan 2150. Got that pipe from the other one. We'll fire it up, make some cuts. That last bar, well, we had some mushroom going on and that was not doing very well. So the saw's been cold. See how it fires up. Not bad, not bad. Keep an eye out. We'll be doing a side-by-side video with this and the Poulan Predator that I did some light port work on. If you guys made it this far, be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching this build. I'm sure we're going to do some other things. Like I said, though, we're going to do a side-by-side video. We'll do some cuts and things like that. And continue to have some fun with this. So we are going to probably port another off-brand, though, before we get into the steel saw. And I believe that's going to be one of these little cheap guys. So probably the next one will be porting, and hopefully we'll get some custom pipes in for these. Appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys see you in the next video.